Hello, everyone, and a heartfelt welcome to our Speak Up family. It's truly a pleasure to see both our familiar voices and those joining us for the first time. I'm Ryan, and today we're delving into a topic that might transform the way you approach learning English. Why your brain hates English and how to trick it. This discussion is specially crafted for anyone who is eager to learn English fast and speak English confidently. I genuinely appreciate you choosing to spend your valuable time with us. Your time is precious, and we promise to make every moment with us a quality one. We're here to empower you on your journey, turning challenges into stepping stones. So, sit back, relax, and prepare for insights that might just change the way you see language learning.
Hi everyone, I'm Priya, and it's so wonderful to have you with us today on Speak Up. Thank you for investing your time in this session. We're committed to making your experience both enjoyable and truly valuable. Now, let's jump into the exciting part of our conversation. Have you ever wondered why it sometimes feels like your brain is actively resisting when you try to learn English? It's a mystery many of us have faced, and today, we're going to explore the reasons behind this mental block. By the end of this segment, you'll learn a surprising trick that can help you overcome fear of speaking English and ease your transition into smoother, more natural communication. Our discussion is also perfect for those at the English for Beginners stage or anyone looking to boost their daily English conversation skills. Let's get started on this journey together and turn your learning challenges into exciting opportunities.
First, let's explore the science behind your brain's resistance to learning English. Our minds are hardwired to stick with what we know, which is why when we try to absorb a new language, it sometimes feels like an uphill battle. Think of your brain as a loyal friend that's been with you since childhood, following the patterns and rhythms of your native language. When you introduce English, with its different sounds and grammar rules, it disrupts that familiar flow. This natural pushback often results in what we call common English mistakes. Essentially, your brain is working overtime, trying to figure out how to process and integrate these new patterns. And as you strive to improve English fluency, it's important to understand that this resistance is just your mind's way of protecting itself from sudden change. By recognizing this, you can start to see your challenges as part of the learning process rather than as personal shortcomings. It's a scientific and completely normal response that many language learners experience.
Exactly, Ryan. It's amazing how our deep-rooted language habits shape the way we learn new languages. When you attempt to think in English, you're essentially asking your brain to rewire decades of familiar linguistic patterns. Imagine trying to listen to a completely different tune while your mind is still humming an old one. It creates a kind of mental tug-of-war. This internal conflict is why you might notice mistakes that feel all too common. Instead of smoothly switching between languages, your mind clings to the native structures it has known for so long. This is a major factor in those common English mistakes we all face. It can be frustrating at times, but understanding that this struggle is rooted in your brain's natural design can help you be more patient with yourself. Embracing this challenge is a crucial step toward improving English fluency. Your brain isn't sabotaging you. It's simply reacting to a sudden change in its long-established routine.
Now, let's dive a bit deeper into another key aspect: cognitive overload. When you're inundated with new information, like unfamiliar vocabulary and complex grammar rules, your brain can easily become overwhelmed. This overload makes it tough to keep up, often leading you to slow down or even revert to old habits. One powerful strategy to combat this is learning how to stop translating in your head. When you consciously translate every word from your native language into English, you're not giving your brain the chance to think naturally in the new language. Instead, you end up with a mental jam, where your brain is working twice as hard to process everything. By practicing to think directly in English, you allow your mind to develop new neural pathways that make the language flow more naturally. Over time, this approach helps reduce those nagging common English mistakes and moves you closer to genuinely improving English fluency. It's all about easing your brain into the new rhythm without overloading it with constant translation.
Absolutely, Ryan. To add another perspective, overcoming cognitive overload isn't about forcing your brain to work harder. It's about making the learning process more natural and enjoyable. When you stop the habit of translating every single word, you allow your brain to process English as a whole, rather than as a series of disconnected parts. Think of it like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, every movement feels awkward, but gradually you start to balance and move effortlessly. This shift in mindset not only minimizes those persistent common English mistakes, but also paves the way for smoother, more confident communication. As you continue to practice and immerse yourself in the language, you'll notice that your ability to improve English fluency grows steadily. Embracing this method means giving your brain the freedom to adapt naturally, which is a game changer for anyone serious about mastering English.
Now let's start by discussing what isn't working with traditional language learning methods. In many classrooms, the focus is all about rote memorization and repetitive grammar drills. While these techniques might help you memorize rules, they rarely help you truly internalize English. When you're constantly trying to fix English grammar mistakes through endless exercises, you end up training your brain to just repeat patterns without really understanding the context. Our minds are wired for natural communication, not for mechanical recitation of rules. This approach can often leave you feeling stuck in a cycle of memorization without the ability to express yourself freely. Instead of embracing interactive and immersive learning, these methods create a disconnect between what you learn and how you actually use English in real-life conversations.
I completely agree, Ryan. It's frustrating when you work hard on mastering grammar rules only to find that in conversation, everything feels stilted and unnatural. Many traditional lessons emphasize memorizing isolated rules and sentence structures, which might help on paper but don't translate to fluent speech. When you're caught up in the idea of fix English grammar mistakes without understanding the underlying logic behind the language, it creates a gap between what you know and what you can actually say. This method often sidelines practical skills and real-world communication, leaving you unprepared for everyday interactions. Our brains need context and active engagement, not just a pile of memorized rules. It's clear that to really progress, we need approaches that blend structure with natural usage, making our learning both effective and enjoyable.
Now let's talk about the disconnect between what many of these traditional methods promise and what we actually experience in real conversations. Techniques marketed as English grammar made easy may simplify the rules, but they don't always prepare you for the spontaneity of real-life dialogue. You might understand a rule perfectly, in theory, yet still feel hesitant when trying to use it in conversation. That's why incorporating English listening practice is so important. It helps train your ear to the natural rhythms and patterns of the language. Additionally, using an English vocabulary builder can gradually expand your word bank in a more organic way rather than through overwhelming lists. This combination of structured learning and practical everyday practice bridges the gap between theoretical knowledge and actual communication, making your journey to fluency much more effective.
Absolutely, Ryan. The key issue is that there's a notable gap between textbook methods and the dynamic nature of real-life conversation. While structured lessons can make grammar seem easy on paper, they often don't address the spontaneous, fluid exchange required during everyday interactions. That's where we need to balance the scales. Engaging in English listening practice not only familiarizes you with common speech patterns, but also helps you adapt to the natural pace and flow of conversation. Pairing that with an English vocabulary builder allows you to gradually incorporate new words into your daily dialogue, without the pressure of constant memorization. This integrated approach makes learning more natural and enjoyable, ensuring that you're not just learning the language, you're living it.
All right, let's dive into some effective tricks to rewire your brain for English. After understanding why our minds sometimes push back, it's time to flip the script. One powerful method we recommend is the shadowing technique for fluency. This approach involves listening closely to native speakers and then immediately mimicking their rhythm and intonation. It's like having a personal conversation with yourself, where you imitate every nuance. Not only does this help you get accustomed to the natural flow of English, but it also forces your brain to build new neural pathways, an essential step if you want to learn English fast. Another fantastic strategy is to learn English with stories. Stories captivate our attention and make language learning feel like an adventure rather than a chore. They immerse you in context and give you a memorable way to pick up vocabulary and expressions, which naturally leads to better fluency. These methods work because they align with the way our brain is wired to absorb information, through listening, mimicking, and engaging with content that resonates with us. By integrating these techniques, you're not just learning rules. You're training your brain to think in English, which is a game changer for anyone looking to improve English fluency.
I couldn't agree more, Ryan. When you practice shadowing, you're not only catching the sounds and rhythms of the language, but you're also honing your skills in English accent training. This method helps smooth out your pronunciation and makes you sound more natural over time. And with storytelling, the magic lies in its ability to create a narrative that your brain can latch onto, turning abstract grammar rules into lively, relatable situations. Imagine hearing a story and then recounting it in your own words. That's a dynamic way to reinforce what you learn. These strategies allow your mind to bypass the typical translation trap and start processing English as a whole language. The more you engage in these activities, the more your brain adapts, setting you on a path to truly learn English fast. It's like giving your brain a workout that's fun, interactive, and, most importantly, effective.
Let's talk about some practical tips on how you can integrate these techniques into your daily routine. Start your day by listening to short audio clips or podcasts in English. Try to shadow a few sentences as you listen. Don't worry about getting everything perfect. The goal is to immerse yourself and let your brain pick up the cadence naturally. You might also want to keep a journal where you jot down snippets of a story you've heard, then try to retell it in your own words later in the day. This practice not only sharpens your memory, but also builds your confidence in using the language spontaneously. Over time, incorporating these routines can make a significant difference. By focusing on these engaging methods, you're not just learning English, you're rewiring your brain to adapt and respond in English, which ultimately helps you improve English fluency. And remember, the journey to mastering a language is filled with small, consistent steps that add up to big results.
Absolutely, Ryan. To add on to that, consider setting aside a specific time each day dedicated to these exercises. Even 15 to 20 minutes of focused shadowing or storytelling can be incredibly effective. Use resources like short videos, audiobooks, or even interactive language apps that emphasize English accent training. The key is to make these practices a natural part of your daily routine. When you blend these engaging activities into your everyday life, you gradually shift away from rote memorization and step into a world of natural language acquisition. With each session, your brain becomes more attuned to the sounds and structures of English, and you'll find that you're not only speaking more fluently, but also enjoying the process. These simple yet powerful strategies are designed to help you learn English fast while making every minute count. So, commit to these techniques, be patient with your progress, and soon enough you'll notice a remarkable change in how effortlessly English becomes a part of your daily life.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about overcoming those mental blocks that many of us face when learning English. It's completely normal to feel hesitant or even anxious about making mistakes. After all, speaking a new language in front of others can be nerve-wracking. For many English for beginners, the fear of mispronouncing a word or using the wrong grammar often holds them back from really expressing themselves. I've been there, and I know how discouraging it can be. But here's the thing. Every mistake is actually a stepping stone. Instead of worrying about being perfect, try to focus on the progress you're making. One helpful tip is to practice speaking aloud in front of a mirror or record yourself during practice sessions. This simple exercise can gradually help you learn how to speak English confidently, as you get used to hearing your own voice and correcting small errors along the way. Remember, the goal is to overcome the hesitation so you can enjoy conversations without fear. By slowly stepping out of your comfort zone, you'll find that the more you speak, the less daunting it becomes. Embrace the fact that mistakes are part of the journey, and each one brings you closer to fluency.
Absolutely, Ryan. I completely relate to that feeling of hesitation when trying to speak English. Many of us worry that if we make a mistake, it might reflect badly on our abilities. But in reality, making mistakes is a natural part of learning. I always encourage everyone to try speaking without overthinking, because the more you practice, the easier it gets. One strategy that's worked well for me is to set aside a little time every day where you can just speak freely, even if it's just narrating your daily routine or sharing your thoughts out loud. This practice helps diminish that fear over time. Also, consider joining small groups or even online communities where you can practice with fellow learners. It creates a supportive environment where everyone is on the same journey, and it's less intimidating than a formal class. Plus, using some handy tips to memorize English words, like associating new words with personal experiences, can boost your confidence further. When you stop worrying about perfection, you gradually learn to speak English confidently and naturally, one conversation at a time.
Let's now talk about building a positive mindset as you continue your English learning journey. It all starts with self-belief. No matter how many hurdles you face, remind yourself that every bit of practice is progress. I like to think of language learning as a marathon, not a sprint. Instead of focusing solely on the end goal, celebrate the small victories. Whether it's understanding a new phrase, successfully using a tricky grammar point, or simply having a short conversation in English. For beginners, it's important to cultivate patience and acknowledge that improvement comes gradually. One effective method is to set realistic, measurable goals and review them regularly. This approach not only helps you track your progress, but also reinforces your belief in your ability to master the language. When you approach your learning with a positive mindset, every challenge becomes an opportunity rather than a setback. And soon enough, you'll find that you're developing a more confident, natural way of speaking.
I couldn't agree more, Ryan. A positive mindset is absolutely essential for overcoming the mental blocks we discussed earlier. It's all about shifting your perspective, seeing each mistake as a lesson rather than a failure, and viewing every practice session as a step towards mastering the language. One thing that really helps me is keeping a journal of my daily progress. I jot down new words, phrases, or even snippets of conversations where I felt I improved. Over time, this journal becomes a tangible reminder of how far you've come. It's also useful to surround yourself with supportive people, friends or study partners who cheer you on and share in your successes. For those just starting out, remember that even the smallest improvements can lead to big changes. By believing in yourself and staying patient, you lay the foundation to speak English confidently. And with consistent practice, those little steps add up, making your journey smoother and more enjoyable. Every time you overcome a challenge, you're not just learning a language, you're building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself.
As we continue our journey, let's talk about how modern technology has revolutionized the way we learn English. With today's digital tools, language learning has become incredibly accessible and engaging. Imagine having access to the best apps to learn English right at your fingertips. Apps that offer interactive lessons, real-time feedback, and even pronunciation drills that mimic natural conversation. These tools let you practice everything from vocabulary to pronunciation, all while fitting neatly into your busy schedule. Moreover, there's a wealth of free English learning resources online that you can tap into anytime you need a quick study break or extra practice. Whether you're working on English listening exercises to get a feel for native speakers or aiming to improve English writing skills through online activities, technology provides a flexible platform to enhance your learning. This digital era empowers you to customize your study routine, ensuring that every minute you spend is both productive and enjoyable.
That's so true, Ryan. Embracing technology has truly opened up a new world for language learners like us. Gone are the days when learning English meant being stuck with outdated textbooks or rigid classroom settings. Now, you can explore interactive platforms and dynamic resources that truly make the process fun and effective. Many learners find that incorporating regular English listening exercises into their routine dramatically improves their ability to understand various accents and speech patterns. By using one of the best apps to learn English or exploring other free English learning resources, you can enjoy lessons that cater to your pace and style. These digital tools not only provide structured learning, but also offer immersive experiences through videos, games, and quizzes, making each study session engaging. The beauty of these resources is that they're designed to adapt to your learning needs, helping you build a strong foundation while keeping the experience fresh and exciting.
Now let's shift our focus to how you can bring these innovative methods into your everyday routine at home. One of the greatest advantages of modern digital tools is that they allow you to learn English at home with ease. You can carve out a small, dedicated space for practice where you engage in English conversation practice alone. For instance, try recording yourself narrating your daily activities or summarizing an article you read. This type of self-practice not only reinforces your speaking skills, but also boosts your confidence. In addition, incorporating activities like English listening exercises into your daily schedule can significantly enhance your comprehension. And if you're looking to improve English writing skills, there are numerous online exercises and prompts available to challenge you and track your progress. The key is to integrate these practices into your daily routine gradually, making them a natural part of your day. By doing so, you're setting up a consistent, effective learning environment that works around your lifestyle, transforming your home into a hub of language practice and growth.
Absolutely, Ryan. Bringing learning into your home environment is all about creating a comfortable and consistent space where you can practice without pressure. Start by dedicating a small area in your home where you feel relaxed and focused. Then, use that space to engage in various self-guided activities like solo English conversation practice. For example, you might choose to read a short story aloud or even describe a scene from your favorite movie, which can naturally enhance your pronunciation and fluency. Additionally, regularly working on tasks to improve English writing skills, whether it's journaling or responding to online prompts, can help solidify your grasp of the language. Don't forget to incorporate English listening exercises into your routine as well. These will help you tune into the natural flow of native speakers and understand different dialects. By combining these methods, you create a well-rounded, immersive learning experience right at home. This balance of digital resources and personal practice not only improves your skills, but also builds the confidence needed for real-life conversations, making your path to fluency both practical and enjoyable.
All right, now let's explore how to weave English into your daily life so naturally that your brain starts thinking in it without even noticing. One of the best ways is to integrate English into everyday activities. For instance, consider watching shows or movies on Netflix with a Learn English with Movies Netflix feature. This not only makes your leisure time more enjoyable, but also exposes you to native speech patterns and pronunciation. I also suggest tuning in to an English podcast for learning while you're commuting or even doing household chores. This continuous exposure is key. By engaging in real-life English conversations, whether it's chatting with friends, colleagues, or even practicing with an online language partner, you allow your mind to adapt gradually. This everyday immersion tricks your brain into acquiring English naturally, making it easier to pick up English idioms and phrases along the way. Plus, as you incorporate these habits, you'll discover creative ways how to expand your English vocabulary in contexts that matter to you, whether it's through casual talk or professional settings. It's all about making English a part of your life rather than just a subject you study.
Exactly, Ryan. The more you blend English into your routine, the more it starts to feel like second nature. For example, try reading news articles or social media posts in English to get accustomed to different writing styles and vocabulary. If you enjoy storytelling, consider following a Learn English with Movies Netflix channel where language learning is fun and engaging. Listening to an English podcast for learning during your morning routine can also set a positive tone for the day. And don't underestimate the power of real-life English conversations. Whether you're discussing a new recipe, planning a day out, or even engaging in professional discussions that include business English vocabulary, every interaction is an opportunity to practice. Incorporating these activities not only boosts your listening and speaking skills, but also helps you absorb English idioms and phrases and practical expressions that textbooks often miss. It's about creating a natural, everyday environment where learning happens organically. By merging your hobbies with language practice, You're bound to see improvement without the process feeling like a chore.
Now let's talk about building a routine that supports this immersive learning experience. Establishing a daily habit is crucial. Start by dedicating a specific time each day for English. This could be a short session of daily English conversation where you talk about your day or describe something you observed. Try setting a small goal, like learning a few new words or expressions daily. This way, you can steadily see how to expand your English vocabulary becomes part of your daily life. In addition, make time for English listening exercises and writing practices that help improve English writing skills. Remember, even small daily practices add up over time. Consistency is key. As you build these routines, you'll notice a natural increase in your confidence and ability to speak fluently. This integrated approach will not only improve your everyday communication, but also help you adapt to professional environments, especially when learning business English vocabulary becomes relevant.
I couldn't agree more, Ryan. To sum up, integrating English into your daily life means creating a balanced routine that blends both fun and practical learning. Whether you're watching your favorite series with English subtitles, listening to engaging podcasts during your commute, or simply striking up conversations in English, every little bit of practice makes a difference. Incorporate tools and habits that help you naturally absorb English idioms and phrases and expand your vocabulary in a way that fits your lifestyle. And if you're looking to add a professional edge, focus on including business English vocabulary in your routine. We hope today's session inspires you to make English an integral part of your life. Thank you for spending this quality time with us. We're confident that by following these tips and routines, you'll not only speak English more fluently, but also enjoy the journey. Until next time, keep practicing and stay motivated on your path to fluency.